Welcome to another video, guys. Today I will give you a detailed stealth Galakrond rogue guide, as well as a few games from last night's stream. I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you that it has an insane win rate, or that it's the best deck out there right now, but in skilled hands it can do wonders, so if you put in the work, you should be climbing with it in no time. Hope you enjoy the video, and if you do, a like and a subscribe would really mean a lot to me. Now, let's get into the guide part. Stealth Galakrond Rogue is considered to be tier 2 right now, but it's still a pretty solid deck, and it's part of the lineup of many Grandmasters too. It is very versatile, there are plenty of choices to be made, and it has just the right amount of RNG into it to make it feel fun and competitive in the current meta. I did peak with it at top 300 legend with it last season, so it's more than capable of taking you to higher ranks, and you can even hire me to coach you on it. The list I ran yesterday had one stealthed Worgen, so I have a secure stealth dude for the early game, and I had one extra invoke from the added Maniac. The standard list usually runs 2 cats and 2 questing adventurers, but depending on the meta and what you feel you're lacking, you can adjust accordingly. If you're seeing too many demon hunters, the added Worgen will really help you trade in the early game, since it serves as an extra backstab for those satires, battle fiends, and so on. And if you're seeing too many value decks like mages and priests, the added invoke helps you get the full invokes, which is usually crucial against them. We have a questing adventurer in here, so we have an extra line of early game threats with which we can close the game early on, and that is why we have one preparation in here as well. You can use it for a bigger Edwin, or a bigger questing, or you can even combo it with a miscreant, with an added Abyss if you need more tempo. What you can also do with it is cheat out Dogwaggle's treasure earlier than expected. Everything else is pretty standard. Now, let's talk about some tips and tricks with the deck. You pretty much never want to be using your hero power for smorking, since you will rarely find yourself with the spare mana to redagger after that. Save your weapon only for trading with your opponent's minions, and don't waste it for that extra damage on your opponent's face, since that will rarely matter. Same goes with your stealth dudes most of the time. Playing a Spy Mistress on turn 1 and not attacking with it for several turns usually is the correct line of play with it, since you either want to value trade with her into a 2 or 3 drop, or you want to save her for the Sage Activator. The power of a 3/1 stealth dude against your opponent should never be underestimated, and even if you feel like you're missing out on the damage, you should also consider what your opponent is missing out on just because you have that 3/1 on the board, since he is probably holding on to his valuable 3 health minion just because of it. Same goes for your Skyvateer if it's your only stealth minion at the time. You will probably prefer to keep it stealthed just for the chance for you to top deck the Sage. But if you really need to get a card draw at that turn, sometimes trading to just activate the Death Rattle might also be correct. Regarding lackeys, you would always like to have a lackey in your hand or a lackey generator, if you haven't used your Dogwaggle yet. It really comes down to the situation, but you should be careful not to waste your lackey just for the sake of using up all of your mana. Use your last lackey only if you really need to get something done. If you top deck Dogwaggle and you don't have a lackey to activate it with, it will hurt a lot more than the 1 mana you could have floated last turn. The way you use your Shadow Steps is also pretty important, and I see many people use it for too much value instead of leaving it for the tempo. A lot of people play Dogwaggle for instance, and on the same turn Shadow Step it for the extra treasure, but that is rarely correct. Keeping that 5/5 on the board is a threat your opponent has to spend resources on, and more often than not, that would be good for you. You already probably have a treasure for 3 extra cards, so you will probably not be lacking value anytime soon, so saving that Shadow Step would be the correct line of play most of the time. If Dog survives, by all means value trade with him and Shadow Step him for an extra treasure, but throwing him on the board and bouncing him at the same turn is usually a rookie mistake. Same goes for Krunks most of the time, although with Krunks you can be more flexible on this. If Krunks is a part of your lethal plan, or you're expecting a wide board for next turn, by all means, Shadow Step him, but think about it hard and figure out if you really want to have him in your hand or you prefer a sturdy 6/6 body on the board. With this deck, it's pretty important to figure out your entire turn before you start throwing cards on the board. Figure out the turn and start by the cards that discover or draw you cards, so you can reevaluate your turn if you need to. Getting a good rush dude from the cat might change your play, and so would a faceless lackey into a doomsayer too. Just keep in mind that sometimes the faceless lackey might give you that horrible mana wraith, and that will destroy your turn plan, since it will make your minions cost 1 more. Evolving first with a witchy lackey might also be the first thing to do. Just figure out which random outcome might matter for you the most on your turn, and start from there. Prioritizing what you want to achieve that turn and getting your random outcomes in the correct order is crucial for you to maximize each of your turns. For the mulligan, it really matters if you're going first or second and what deck you're expecting against you. With this deck, it's almost always better for you to start first, since you are a tempo deck and you want to be doing your turns first. When you're going first, you want to be acting and not reacting, meaning that you will probably not want to be keeping cards like Seal of Fate or Eviscerate, and sometimes even Backstab too. When going first, you want your Stealth dudes, your Cat, and your Sage, so you can curve out nicely. Keeping a Seal of Fate might also be good for you if you're expecting a good 2-drop from your opponent, but keeping it without a real plan for it on turn 3 usually is not so great. When going second, you will be reacting to what your opponent is playing, so keeping cards like Backstab and Seal of Fate is a lot better here, especially if you're going against a faster deck. You will also be able to combo out your Miscreant and Edwin, so keeping those is also pretty good. Again, there's nothing wrong with your stealth package here, but you will also want to be having some reactive spells too. I wouldn't be keeping Eviscerate too much though, since Seal of Fate and Backstab are usually a lot better. Here you can even keep Dogwaggle if you already have a curve going, but keeping Galakrond usually feels underwhelming nowadays, so I usually throw it away. Cards you should almost never keep would be Shield of Galakrond and Maniac, unless you're already curving nicely into them. An exception here would be Priest, but even that's a long shot most of the time. Anyway, that's gonna be it for the guide part. Now let's see some games from last night's stream from my climb to legend. Enjoy! Warrior. First warrior of the night. We had a very bad run against warriors last stream. Let's hope it's better today. We're going first. If I was going second, I might have kept this backstab. I can still keep it. It's not amazingly amazing. It deals with his early 1-2 and nothing more. It might be important to keep it, like, it could deal like up to 3 damage at least. Ignoring it for a prolonged period of time, not amazing, so. Yeah, that too. That being said, it's even more important keeping it. But whatever it is, we all know he's running the 1-2 shit, so. And he is pirate. Good call, Trim. Now the question is, do we save the backstab for the miscreant? Hero powering for sure. That's not big though. 3 damage, but 2 damage in the face. This armor is interesting.
Nightfall.
It's not amazing, but if we're convinced that he's Pirate Warrior, which I think we should be, this is fine doing. Can't really not do anything. I'm dropping the Spy Mistress again to be flexible. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have the cash. It's kind of rough for him. Has a weapon at least. The fact that we're going second is pretty big against Pirate Warrior. Didn't forget to massage the face area. Thinking about witchy lacking this miscreant.
Evil is fun. Bubble, bubble.
I've seen bigger. That's what she said. Why did my miscreant flash just now? Wait, what's wrong with my deck tracker? This is not the correct situation. We already played one miscreant. Why does it say I have 2 more?
Here we go.
It's probably gonna risky skipper this turn. Yeah, makes sense, Trim. Makes sense. Yeah, we transformed the miscreant, so miscreant flashed. Got back into the deck for some reason. Okay. Pretty cool. Mortal Strike not in the face, so... Oh, he doesn't? Now that you said it, makes sense for him not to run it. Then again, this guy could have discovered it for him. And other lies we tell ourselves to justify our misplay, but you know, it's fine. It's fine. We have reactive spells in hand, so keeping the free one instead of smacking him for basically 6 damage, I think it's pretty good that we did it, so it's fine. Okay, he's not a big fan of having a face, so we're gonna help him with that. This was never an option. And get the draw a bunch. Is that what we're doing? I would prefer seeing the spell first. He's almost dead. Literally 1 off. Yeah, it's literally 1 off. So yeah, I think we're just jamming everything to mouth.
In the shadow, fate awaits you in the ashes.
3 of this is better than 2. That's what I always like to say.
Here we go.
Okay. Yeah, we needed the lackey for the last combo, but we can always invoke, so yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of lethal. It's a lot of lethal.
Love the feel of wind in me sails.
Nice targeting. Pretty random. Pretty random, huh, Blizz? As random as it gets. I'm waiting for you.
Vengeance! Vengeance! I will have my vengeance. Vengeance! Vengeance shall be ours. Vengeance! Vengeance! Vengeance!
That was a lot of skill. It's fine. Another hunter.
Valera versus
John Balance.
Let the hunt begin.
Going first, pretty nice. Haven't seen a single demon hunter, by the way, guys. Anybody else noticing that? Going second, Seal of Fate is kind of a questionable keep. Going first is a questionable keep because you really want to be more action-oriented than reaction-oriented. But possible face stalker on 2. Oh yeah, you actually noticed that, Ross. Actually noticed that. I'm gonna keep it just because it's a pretty cool card to keep, but overall might be considered not such a good idea. In the hunter matchup, I would say it's fine keeping it. But most of the time when you're going first, you want to have your stealth guys over your reactive spells. Using it, not gonna be doing shit. Oh, that's getting sealed. Do I care to do the trade, or can I afford to take a little more face massaging? I'm gonna chill for now. I don't really have an answer to something like that for next turn, so maybe. Okay, well, that changes everything.
A cruel
That's why you
fate
keep the
awaits
stealth so
you in the
long.
ashes.
Because you can either get the Sage or you can either get a good trade. And let's prevent him from doing value trades and chipping more face. Oh, he's Dragon Hunter. Okay. Was curving out a little too nicely for him not to be Dragon Hunter. Rottenness Drake next turn is not gonna be too good for me. But it's gonna be fine because we get Flick him. We're gonna be taking 5 damage to the face if we don't do anything about this board. But we do have the Invoke plan in hand, Bronx in hand. Let's go with this.
Choose soon.
Something like this is the most I can be doing right now, I think. Next turn I can rush my Shield of Galakrond into something. Just gonna play the random dragon from the Primordial, huh? It's gonna be so nice if that's a Rot Nest. It's not a Rot Nest. Go with Fate, huh? Let's go like this.
I will act as your scale. His
How's my win rate going? So far, so good, dude. I think we lost only 2 times. The rest is wins. That is not a bad flick target. I could go for the Krunks right now. But taking extra 5 to the face, I'm not too passionate about that, you know?
One stab, finish him. In the shadows.
Okay. Well, it would have been lovely if we killed the big ol' with the flick, but can't do much about it. Okay. It's gonna be a race.
You are too late. His return is nigh.
That's 10. Can't really let him hit me for 10.
Nightfall. Stabby, stab, stab.
It's gonna come down to 5. Best I can do is 5 for you. Question is, does he have a Rotnest activator if he has the Rotnest at all? He does. Okay, good trade. Now let's get something decent out of this.
Dark in the skies, my nightmare reigns.
Battle step and backstab two of my best friends. Nice, huh? Pretty nice, huh? I can make a very big headwind right now.
What if? of evil. Darkness wanes. Annihilation. Fear me. On wings of evil. On wings of evil. The Brotherhood shall prevail.
Nice trade. A second Rot Nest with the activator for it's gonna be a bit too much. And that's a wrap. This is gonna be a win streak, I think.
Well fought,
Got him.
I concede.
Got him. Okay. Midway through Golden.
Valera versus
Another Demon Hunter. Maybe
This ends now.
Watch
we're going first.
your back.
I'm gonna go. Still keeping a Seal of Fate here. Okay, got my Stealth Dude. Nice.
Home in the shadows.
If he has the sidekick here, I'm in deep trouble. But then again, I can just Seal of Fate it. Right now, I'm not too sure about that, Ank.
That should upgrade. Probably.
Not too sure about that. Okay, I guess I'll maybe double trade that. Getting a backstab wouldn't hurt nobody.
A cruel fate awaits you in the ashes.
Backstab, but it's not that actually. I had some fun with Secret Rogue last stream, but it has seen better days.
Here we go.
It's so bad.
Nightfall.
We have two invokes and Galakrond. We are going first, so odds are on our side.
Is it cold in the shadows?
It is Seal of Fated in the shadows.
On wings of evil.
These are not doing me any good. Maybe Malagos makes the most sense, but Onyxia also drives me in bargain. Whatever. I don't think it's gonna come down to these.
Here we go.
I'm probably gonna use Shield the Galakrond. Here and after that, I might go for a big questing. Should I go for a big questing now? I will.
Give me a quest.
Call the dragons. On wings of evil. On wings of evil.
There's a Dragonite for later. Or Fairy for now. Yes.
Who in their right mind hides loot?
I don't have a spell I need to be prepping for, so that's fine. Alex for Nazari? Yeah, if we were Highlander, which we are not anytime soon, We have 4 duplicates. I mean, sure, Galakrond is gonna draw our Praise Galakrond and backstab, but after that, it's gonna be hard to get the other 2. You know?
Demons? Demons.
Gonna go for the 4 damage.
I will act as your skin.
On wings of evil.
Like trading.
Quest accepted.
Too bad it dies to another glaive bound, but what you gonna do? That would be perfectly fine if he metamorphoses it.
I grow impatient.
Have plenty of high drops from this Galakrond. Let's hope we get some.
Time grows short. Hide behind yourself.
Okay, we weren't
Still fight.
pretty much dead if we went for that face plan now wordplay.
That's enough break.
Okay. I'm nice and healthy. Oops, you forgot to attack my face, bro. Got the crunks, so next turn we're healing. We're never losing this one anymore. Even though we, as per usually, cheated out only 2 mana. We're gonna be winning this time.
They're onto us.
Let's remain wide for a possible lethal out with Krunks next turn.
Alas, poor warlock.
It's time for a little blood.
The fires of vengeance burn bright.
Meow. Okay. And retreat.
You are too late. His return is nigh.
They're onto us.
I yield for now.
Would have been 1 off if we didn't get that at this. Okay. Bonus. And 1 more win, and we're gonna be into plat 5. So that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, a like and a subscribe would really help me out. Drop me a message if you would like to hire me for some Hearthstone coaching. Thanks for watching, I'm Kris05, and I'll see you in my next video or stream.